Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Tech with Divas. So today the topic which I have decided to discuss is the introduction to 5G system architecture. So as we know 5G is the hot topic these days and I will discuss in this training about 5G system architecture. Okay, so let's go through the agenda of the training. So first of all I will introduce you that why 5G has been introduced and why we require that what is the requirement, why 5G is required at all, why we are introducing 5G in our current networks. Then we will go through some of the technologies that have been introduced to realize these requirements. So how these requirements are realized. So there are certain requirements that have been set up by ITU, International Telecommunication Union, and we have to satisfy these requirements. So then we will discuss how these requirements are realized. Then we will go through the 5G system components. So 5G system components basically we can say that consist of access network and core network. Then we will go through the details of this access network and the core network, how the core network is implemented and how the access network is implemented. Then we will go through the 5G system architecture, that how the nodes are connected to each other, what are the interfaces between these nodes. Then we will go through each and every network function and their functions, that what are the functions of these network functions. Then we will compare 5G with the EPC. Okay, so let's begin. So what is the purpose of introducing 5G system architecture? Why at all we require 5G system? So for this purpose, ITU, International Telecommunications Union, actually defined certain use cases like enhanced mobile broadband, ultra reliable low latency communication, which can be short formed as URLLC, and massive machine type communication, which can be short formed as MMTC. So mainly three use cases has been defined for 5G. First one is the EMBB, enhanced mobile broadband. Second one is the URLLC, ultra reliable low latency communication. And third one is the massive machine type communication. So enhanced mobile broadband is simply the enhancement of our current broadband which we are using. So it will just increase the speeds up to 20 Gbps is the limit, which is up to 20 Gbps is the limit of the 5G networks and even more. Then ultra reliable low latency communication. So there are certain applications that require very low latency. Latency means the duration, the difference between the request and the response. So if someone is sending a request and a response is coming, then that response should be very less. So various use cases has been defined for the URLLC. So like for example, one use case which seems impossible these days. Right now it seems impossible, but maybe in the future it will be realized. Is could be the remote surgery. So for example, someone sitting in if I take example of different cities, like someone sitting in Chennai can cure some person or do a surgery on some person at sitting in Delhi. Then we have the massive machine type communication. So this is the Internet of Things. So massive machine type communications could be, for example, in a industry or in a factory, there are various machines. Currently, these machines are independently working. So we can connect these machines. So these machines can talk to each other. This is one use case. So these are the three use cases defined for 5G. And to support these use cases, we have certain minimum requirements. So what are these minimum requirements? So these minimum requirements are, first of all, we have to have a peak data rate of 20 Gbps of in the downlink direction and 10 Gbps in the uplink direction. Second one is the user data rate. So user data rate should be up to 100 Mbps in the downlink direction and 50 Mbps in the uplink directions. Third one is the traffic capacity. So traffic capacity means that how much traffic our network can accommodate in a particular area. So that traffic capacity, average traffic capacity should be 10 Mbps per square kilometer in order to realize these requirements. Then user plane latency. So user plane latency we have to reduce a lot, like the latency requirements for URLLC, which is the ultra reliable low latency communication, is in the order of 1 to 4 milliseconds. One more example of URLLC which I can recall is the self-driving cars. So self-driving cars also require very low latency, because if the instructions that the car is sending or car is getting, if they are not able to execute at the time, in the right time, then it might cause some accident. So user plane latency should be of the order of 1 to 4 milliseconds. Then the control plane latency could should be of the order of 20 milliseconds. Then the connection density. So connection density basically means that how many devices can be connected to a network per square kilometer. So our connection density has to be 1 million devices per square kilometer. So these are the minimum requirements for 5G. So now we know the minimum requirements of 5G, but now we need to know that how these requirements are realized. So there are certain technologies that are used to realize these requirements. So first one is the waves, which we can also call as the millimeter waves. So we need to send data at very high speed. So for sending data at very high speed, we need very high frequency electromagnetic waves. So very high frequency means our wavelengths are very low. So very low wavelengths of the order of millimeters. So millimeter waves we need to use for sending our data. So millimeter waves means waves having wavelength in the order of millimeters. Then second technology which we are using is the beamforming. So what happens is that when we increase the frequency, our path loss also increases. Path loss or propagation loss also increases. So for reducing this, what we do, we use, instead of using a single antenna, we use a multiple array of antenna. So by using this, we can direct our radiation pattern into a certain direction. We can call this as beamforming. Then the third technology which we are using is the massive MIMO. So MIMO is multiple input, multiple output. So basically we are using a array of antennas at the input, and similarly at the receiving end we are also using array of antenna. So we are transmitting with, for example, 4 antenna and receiving with 4 antennas. So we can say that we are using a 4 cross 4 array. So initially we use these arrays, 2 cross 2, 4 cross 4, these kind of arrays, small arrays. But in 5G, our speed requirements is very high. Hence, we can go up to 64 cross 64 MIMO. Hence, we are calling it as massive MIMO, since we are using a massive antennas. The size of our MIMO is massive. Then the next technology is the NFP, which is the network functions virtualizations. So if we go back in time in 3G networks or in 4G networks, we used to have different hardware nodes, but here we have virtualized our network functions. So whatever core network functions are implemented, that will be implemented in a virtualized function, so that we can scale them independent of the hardware. So this is the network function virtualization technology. Then the next technology is the SDN technology. SDN means software defined networking. So in this, what we do is we separate the control plane and forwarding plane of our networks, and we can basically program our control plane, and our networking plane is again the underlying hardware, and it can increase its capacity, can increase on through by using programming on the application or programming on the control layer. So this is the SDN. Then the multiple access technology. So SCMA is the multiple access technology that will be used by 5G. So for example, our network one network vendor, which is Huawei, is using this particular multiple access technique for sending and receiving data in 5G. So these are the technologies which will be used to realize the requirements of 5G. So I have given you the introduction to the 5G, that why the 5G was required and what are the technologies that are used for realizing these requirements. So now let's go through the components of the 5G system. So there is a this complete system we are calling as the 5G system, and this 5G system is having certain components. So mainly this 5G system is having two components. First one is the access network, which is the 5G access network, and second one is the core network, which is the 5G core network. So the first component of the 5G system is the 5G access network. It is also known as the NG-RAN or the next generation RAN, which consists of millimeter waves, and the multiple access technology which is used is the SCMA. So the main components of 5G access network are UE and RAN. UE is our user equipment that needs to have the support of 5G frequencies and also the multiple access technologies that are used in 5G. And the second component is RAN. So RAN is our next generation node B. So like we had a E node B in our 4G network. Similarly, we have a G node B in 5G networks. So that consists of all the MIMO antennas. So this is the 5G access network. So the second component of the 5G network, which is the heart of the 5G network, is the 5G core. So there are certain general concepts which are related to 5G core. First one is that 5G core comprises of various network functions that are implemented using technologies like network function virtualization and software defined networks. So the 5G network functions are not literally the hardware nodes. They are basically virtual network functions that are built up on a COTS hardware, commercial off the shelf hardware. And the network for this particular core is defined by the SDN, software defined networks. Then here in 5G networks, we have separate user and control plane. So in the 4G networks, we have certain network elements which were having the functionality of both the user plane and the control plane. But here we have completely separated the two. So user plane is different and control plane is different. So one network function completely is not there, which is having both the user plane and control plane. So if one network function is there, then it will serve either the control plane and the user plane. So this allows basically the independent scalability at the control plane and the user plane, and also the deployment flexibility we are having. So if the deployment of only control plane functions are required, then we will deploy only them. And if only the deployment of user plane functions is required, then we will deploy only the user plane functions. The next main important function of the 5G network is that it allows for network slicing, which means that for various services we can provide network slices. So we can slice our network. So that means we can create various instances of one single network function, so that single network function for different services. So this capability is called as network slicing. So because our network is virtualized, we can create various instances of the same network functions, because of which we can introduce one functionality which can be called as network slicing. Next major concept of 5G core is the support of unified authentication framework, which means that our authentication is open and also access network agnostic, which means that whatever access network is there, we don't need to re-authenticate our UE. We can establish several security contexts on the one go, so that when our UE is moving between one access network to other access network, it doesn't have to re-authenticate. Then we can basically decouple the storage from the compute resources, so that our network functions are stateless. That basically increases our processing speed. So the network functions which we are implementing are not having don't need to maintain any states, and we have state maintenance and a separate storage resource. So these are the main concepts that basically are the core of 5G. So 5G core is having these particular concepts that define the 5G core network. So now after discussing the 5G core concepts, we have to move to the 5G architecture. So, up till 4G, we had the architecture, we used to represent it on the reference point. That means that there were certain network elements, and then we used to have point to point connection between each and every network element. So, this type of representation is called reference point representation. In 5G system architecture, we can represent this architecture in two ways. First one is the reference point representation, which is similar to the 4G or EPC architecture. The newly introduced one is the service-based representation. So basically, there is a difference between the two. So in reference point representation, we can say that it consists of a set of network elements, which basically use point-to-point interfaces. So there is an interface between one network element and other network element to interconnect each other. So this type of representation, which we use up till EPC, is called the reference point representation. In 5G, we have a new kind of representation which we call as the service-based representation. So what happens in service-based representation is that it replaces the set of network elements with a network functions. So here we are calling the network element as network functions, and each network function is kind of a service provider to other network function. And in this case, we don't have a point-to-point connection. So instead of point-to-point connection, we have a common bus which interconnect all the network functions. So in the first slide, I will discuss about the reference point representation, which is quite similar to the 4G architecture or EPC architecture. So let's start with the reference point representation. So in the reference point representation, we start with the UE and RAN. So one more point about the 5G architecture is that it is having complete user plane and control plane separation. So user plane is completely separate from the control plane, and each and every network element of the user plane is separate, completely separate. We don't have any network elements which are having both the control plane and user plane functions. So the first I am showing you the user plane part. So user plane part consists of the UE, RAN. One network function is called the user plane function. Then we have the data network. Then if we move towards the control plane part, we have the AMF, access and mobility management function. Then the SMF, session management function. Then the PCF, policy control function. Then the UDM, user data management, then the AUSF, authentication server function, then the NSSF, which is the network slice selection function, then AF, which is the application function. So these are the control planes. So UE, RAN, UPF, and DN, they comprise of the user plane. Then coming to the interfaces, so between UE and AMF, we have the N1 interface, RAN and AMF, the N2 interface, RAN and UPF, the N3 interface, UPF and SMF N4 interface, PCF AF N5 interface, UPF and DN N6 interface, then SMF and PCF N7 interface, AMF and UDM N8 interface, UPF to UPF N9 interface, UDM to SMF N10 interface, AMF to SMF N11 interface, AUSF to AMF N12 interface, AUSF to UDM N13 interface, then AMF to AMF N14 interface, then from NSSF to AMF N22 interface. So the last slide showed you the complete reference point representation. So now the new type of representation which we are having in the 5G architecture is the service-based representation. So in this case, each and every node is a service provider. So and we have a common bus. So instead of point-to-point connection, we have a common bus which interconnects all the network functions. So here we can see this is the common bus, and all the network functions are connected to each other using the common bus. And one more thing which I would like to add is that this service-based representation is only applicable for the control plane part. The user plane part is in point-to-point representation only. Only the control plane part is in the service-based representation. So like NSSF, we have various connections or services here like the NSSF service, NNEF service, NNRF service, NPCF service, NUDM service, NNAF service, NAUCF service, and NAMF service, and NSMF service. Then the user plane is similar to the reference point representation. So this is the service based architecture. So after having studied the network architecture for 5G, we will now list down the network elements that I just described in the network architecture. So just listing out the network elements. First one is the AMF, which is the access and mobility management function, which basically is required for mobility management, and it is a control plane function. Then we have the SMF, which is the session management function, which is required for session management, again control plane function. Then we have the UPF, which is the user plane function that forwards the user data to the internet or data network. Then we have the PCF, which is the policy control function, which is there for defining the policies that need to be implemented. Then we have the NEF, which is the network exposure function. Then we have the NRF, which is the network repository function. So just for the sake of clearing the concept, I need to tell here that NRF is basically the central part of the 5G core. So network repository function, in this each and every network function registers the services which it can provide in the NRF. Then we have the UDM, which is the Unified Data Management, which can fetch the user data, subscription data. Then we have the AUSF, which is the authentication server function, which is used at the time of authenticating the UE. Then we have the non-3GPP intertrunking function, which is having the functionality to interconnect the non-3GPP functions like the Wi-Fi, non-3GPP access networks like the Wi-Fi to our 5G core. Then we have the AF, which is the application function. So this is for connecting the voice applications like the IMS to our 5G network. Then we have the UDR, which is the Unified Data Repository. So this is having subscription data, policy data, so all kind of data repository is the UDR. So the next network function that is used in 5G is the UDSF, which is the unstructured data storage function. This is an optional function. So there are two types of data, structured data and unstructured data. So for any data for which 3GPP has not defined any structure, we classified it under the unstructured data. So UDSF is used for storing the unstructured data. Then the next one is the SMSF, which is used for handling the SMS functionality carried from the 3G and 4G networks. Then we have the NSSF, network slice selection function. So one new functionality in the 5G core is the or 5G network is the dividing our network into network slices. So once we divide our network into network slices, then we need a function for selecting the particular slice for which the service requires. So from when a UE is selecting a service, they need to select the slice. So for that particular purpose, we need one more network function in this 5G, which is the 5G, which is the NSSF, network slice selection function. Then the 5G EIR, which is the equipment identity register, having the similar functions as in the 4G and 3G EIR. Then we have the LMF, which is the location management function. Then the SCPP, which is the security edge protection proxy. Then finally we have the network data analytics function. So network data analytics function, which can support any type of data analytics that is required to be done over our network statistics or any statistics coming from the network. So we have defined a separate function for that particular purpose in 5G core architecture, which is the NWDF. So after listing out the network functions and also telling about the functionality of the important 5GC network functions, let's now do a comparison between the 5GC and EPC so that we are able to correlate that how our network functions from EPC are evolving into the 5G. So first point is that in 5G we have complete user and control plane separation. So that means that we have separate nodes for the control plane and user plane. But in EPC, we used to have nodes which used to serve both the functionalities that can do the user plane functions also and that can do the control plane functions also. So example of these nodes are S gateway and P gateway. So S gateway and P gateway are the nodes which used to perform both the control plane and user plane functions in the EPC. But in 5G, we don't have a node which is performing both the functions. So we have separate nodes for control and user plane. Now comparing the network functions. So the AMF function can be compared to the MME in the EPC. So AMF is performing the function which MME used to perform in the EPC. Then SMF can be compared to the S gateway C and P gateway C functions. So SMF performs the same function which the S gateway control functions are used to do, and P gateway control function used to do. So combined S gateway control function and P gateway control functions are defined in one node here, one network element or network function here, which is the SMF. Then UPF can be compared to the S gateway user plane and P gateway user plane function. So S gateway user plane and P gateway user plane functions have been combined into one network element or network function, which is the UPF in 5G. Then we have the PCF. So PCF can be compared to PCRF. So it is quite a simple comparison. Then we have the HSS. So HSS is having quite a huge functionality. So here we have defined a few network functions that are doing the HSS functions. So AUSF is one of them, which is doing some functions of the HSS. Then UDM is one of them which is doing some functions of the HSS. So this is just the comparison between the 5G core and the EPC functions, 5G core functions and the EPC functions. So I think this is it for this session. So in the next session, I will discuss about the in more detail. I will go through the nodes and what are the functions of each and every network function. So in this session, I just in very briefly I discussed about the important network functions and the functions which they perform. In the next session, I will discuss in detail about each and every network function. So thanks for attending this session. Hope it helps. Please like to my video and please subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot.